Hi everybody, this will be part 2 in the character texture creation tutorial series. Last video we talked about how to export from Maya, so here's what my model should look like in Maya. And we want to make sure after we export and import that in the Substance Painter that the model looks how we want it to and that the UVs are imported over properly. So previously we exported out an FBX file and an OBJ file. So the OBJ file will also save out an MTL file, which is the material file associated with the OBJ. The FBX just saves all that information into one file. So we're going to move over to Substance Painter. I'm particularly using Substance Painter 2019 3.3. And what we're going to do is go to File, New. And then in the New, we're going to first change the template. So if I change the template, we're going to do PBR Metal Rough, and I know I'm going to do an opacity map with the cloth, so I know I need to go ahead and choose PBR Metallic Roughness Alpha Blending. If you're not doing any opacity or alpha stuff, then you can just choose PBR Metallic Roughness. But I know I'm going to need the opacity channel to be available, so I'm going to choose PBR Metallic Roughness Alpha Blending. Underneath the file, I'm going to go choose my FBX. So we'll choose FBX. I'm going to show you the issue that's going to happen with the cloth. So we'll do Open. We're going to choose Document Resolution as 2048. And as default, probably the normal map format's OpenGL. We're going to change that to DirectX. Okay, so we're going to click OK. So PBR Metallic Roughness with Alpha Blending. Change or select your model. Document Resolution to 2048. Normal map format to DirectX. Alright, so it actually is pulling in my character model properly, but it's not pulling in my cloth properly. So one, it didn't pull in my UVs how I had them set up, and two, it's not draping that cloth on top of my character. It did pull in two different materials, which was proper, but it's not actually pulling in the geometry properly. So this is one issue that can arise when using FBX, is that FBX format saves out more information specific to that software, particularly Maya in this occasion, that is part of other things that Delete the History will not get rid of. So I used a cloth simulation to drape it on top of the character in Maya. It did not save that information out properly. So when I choose instead an OBJ file, it's going to release all that information, remove all that other information, but save the visual data of what it should look like. So that's okay, but it's not draping properly, and I want it to drape properly. So instead, I'm going to go back to New and not use my FBX, but instead use the OBJ. So keep with PBR Metallic Roughness Alpha Blending. Let's change this to my OBJ file. We're going to change the document resolution back to 2048, and we're going to click OK. And I'm just going to choose discard from that previous file. Alright, so there we go. So my model comes in properly. I still have my body and the eyes coming in properly. Zoom in here so we can see. Okay. It didn't for some reason save some of the smoothing groups for the center of the nose or whatnot. We can correct that pretty easily, but it is going to save the cloth properly. Other thing I want to make sure of it is pulling in my UVs properly as well. So there's my body and eyes UV. I now have two different texture sets for my two different materials. There's my cloth UV, so my cloth UVs are coming in properly, and is visually displaying the geometry. Now I just do have that issue with the nose in here. I'm gonna go back to my Maya file just to make sure, see what that looks like there. Yeah, I actually do have the hard edges there, so in case you have some visual discrepancies, we can come back and correct those, re-export that back out, start the file again. So let's do that. So let's go to Edge Mode, and the issue here, turn off Soft Select for a second, is these edges down the length of the nose are hard edged. So I want to go select those edges, Mesh Display, Soften Edge. Let's put it back to Object Mode. There's no longer hardened edges there. I'm just going to look around the body quickly to see if there's any other issue there. There's one on the butt area as well. So we will soften those edges. And keep looking around to see if we have any other visual issues of softened, hardened edges. The rest of it looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so we made those corrections. I'm going to select the object. Let's go back and do edit, delete by type history, because the history is on there from those softened edges. And then let's go re-export, file export selection. We'll do OBJ and save on top of that previous OBJ. Okay, let's do replace. All right, so we can actually update our model in here, but instead I'm just going to do just a new file. So we'll do file new, we'll go back and select that same updated OBJ, document resolution 2048, normal map to DirectX, make sure we're doing the alpha blending PBR preset, click OK. Discard that previous one. Alright, those shading issues should be gone now, pretty good. My cloth and my body and eyes come in properly. Now we're ready to create textures. One last thing is that I don't like the inverse scroll zoom direction. I want it to be the same way as what it is in Maya. So what I usually will do before I set anything else up is go to the project settings. Well, not project settings, sorry. The settings, overall settings. And we're going to scroll down to wheel speed and inverse that wheel speed. Okay, so that was regular settings, in general, wheel speed, and inverse that wheel speed. So that way, when I scroll the mouse wheel forward, it zooms in. When I scroll the mouse wheel backward towards me, it'll zoom out. And that's exactly how Maya's setup is. So if I hold down Alt and left click, that orbits. Alt and middle click, pans. The scroll wheel is a snap zoom. Alt and right click is a smooth zoom. So we're going to go back and forth between editing and painting on with the 3D view and the 2D view. One last thing I do before I start creating textures is I just go back and rename my two texture sets with my materials. It just sometimes doesn't copy over the names for the materials. So this top one's the body, so we'll just double click and do M. We'll just type body instead of M body. We'll say body. And then the top one, or the bottom one, is the cloth, so we'll say cloth. Okay. So we need to rename those, so as we export, it'll say body underscore base color, body underscore normal, cloth underscore base color, cloth underscore normal. So that way we can paint on the body without having to see the detail of the cloth. We can also turn off the cloth so I can still paint on the chest and the neck area without having the cloth in the way as well. So some other opportunities in order to set up your scene for a more successful texture creation. If you look at the layers with that alpha blending, it also has the opacity channel already in here, so I can paint opacity detail if I wanted to as well. And we'll do that in a later video. All right, that's it for setting up the import and our scene within Substance Painter. The next video we'll come back and discuss how to set up some layers and some base color and masking.